welcome. I am your host, Miriam Daniels, the Air Goddess. Yes, looking good is good business. Today we'll be focusing on one important aspect of a lady's grooming, the hair. What are the different types of hair texture? What are the damages a woman can experience in not grooming her hair correctly? How can you enhance your hair growth? Have you been concerned? Have you been bothered about that? Do not worry. These and many more are some of the questions our guests will provide answers to. We have Mrs. Uche Joseph Umana, the Executive Director of Sales and Marketing, Say You Hair Academy in Uyo. She's been a business development officer and a human resource consultant for over 15 years. Madam, you're welcome. We know just a bit about you. Can you tell us some more?
Okay, sure. I've been a businesswoman. I have been an employee, and today I'm an employer. Basically, I have done my rounds in business, and I've decided that it's time to settle down on an actual problem. But basically, I am a businesswoman and I am an entrepreneur.
Okay, so we're talking about hair, good hair grooming for the woman. It's a very big issue. We know that there are different texture of hair. Sometimes we could hear you have a stubborn hair, you have a soft hair and all of that. Tell us about the different textures of hair.
Okay, we have to find out first of all how we manage our hair, because irrespective of your hair texture, if it is not properly managed, you're going to have bad hair, and that's general. And also, we will have to look at the shoulder plateau, which is what most African women assume to be the normal length for the African hair. All this boils down to the fact that we do not know how to manage our natural hair properly. While you were talking about my years of experience, that also played a major role in what led me to going into the hair business. I have had a professional career for over 15 years, and I actually allotted very little time to taking care of my hair. My option was retouch, fix, get a wig, braid, and over the years, I noticed that my hair wasn't as healthy as it was. Rather than getting a solution, I just continued with what I was doing until I had total hair loss. I woke up one morning, combed my hair, and the front part of my hair just fell off, like literally it broke. So I had a big bald scalp in the middle of my hair, and try as I may to cover it, I just couldn't. Then I became frantic. I set into depression, and basically I had to look for solution. In looking for solution, I realized that there are lots of things that we are doing wrong, and that's why we're getting the results we have. And if we continue in that circle of damage, most people will end up just like me, being bald. But fortunately, I've been able to fix that. And also suffering, going through that psychological depression about the hair loss, I became conscious as to finding solutions. So I went into research. Then I now picked it up when I saw that it was not just a problem that was unique to me, but a lot of women are going through it. Then when I started putting up blogs and posts about it, I got a lot of women who also had the same problem. So that led me to not just getting solution, but setting up an academy that would help not just stop the problem, but also train stylists to start doing things right, because they also contribute to the damage of our hair.
Okay, setting up the academy, was it just an easy, straight thing? You just came and then you just set up the academy and then things just started happening?
Trust me, we are still setting up. Having worked for a while was my process of learning, I would say, because it makes you understand that you're never really set up until your business can run itself without you. So basically, we are still setting up. But do we have the foundation right? Yes, we do.
What does it mean to groom my hair?
All right. Grooming is a totality of your hair processes and your hair regime. It does not stop with the products you use. It covers the products, it covers what you do, what you eat, what chemical damage your hair is exposed to, the physical damage, the dietary damage as well. These are the total package of what comes across in hair grooming. So you have to look at, what chemical processes am I going through? Now, picking the chemical process, I want to state this because a lot of women seem to constantly repeat a certain damaging process, but for some reason they do not even recognize it as a chemical damage, and it's one of the worst. A lot of us have need to dye our hair. Dye is one of the harshest treatment your hair can go through. After dyeing, we do not try to return the moisture and the protein the hair has lost. Your hair is basically a protein structure. It's made basically of keratin. So we go through these processes and we think relaxing or retouching is the harshest treatment. But in all honesty, it's actually the dye. And every time you dye or color your hair, you should go through a treatment process before you do any other thing to your hair, and that should happen within a week. Either dye or relaxer. Anytime it goes through a chemical treatment, within that week, you should be able to treat it.
Okay, every time you dye your hair, you said the dye is the harshest
treatment, yes.
Hair treatments. But I don't know, because you have people who go about, say, weekly basis, the coloring.
Exactly.
But why do people really have to color their hair that often?
Most people have gray. Then a lot of people also do not like the color of their hair. So what you do at that point is you can dye it, but what you do after dyeing your hair is what's very important, and that's what determines the state and the health of your hair.
Okay, so what is it that should be done after dyeing the hair?
After every chemical process, your hair should go through a rejuvenating mask conditioning treatment. Your hair, believe it, is alive and it eats. Though what we see that comes out are the dead cells, but retaining that length is making sure that your disulfide bonds are still very healthy and the crosslinks are in place. And the only way you can do that is at every point after damage, you repair it. Now, for someone who didn't take care of her hair, we always take for granted the fact that we can do anything and it just bounces back. But what we fail to recognize is the fact that when it's bouncing back, it becomes slower. It's not growing as fast as it used to. Okay. That is always a telltale sign. When your hair is not giving you that volume when you pack it, it's not growing as fast as it used to, that's a telltale sign that your hair is becoming or is malnourished. That is when you should pay apt attention to your hair.
So what is it that could make the hair malnourished?
I had mentioned one, that's when it goes through chemical damage. Then there's another one that we also tend to overlook, and that is what we eat. I've had people talk about going on a diet, and most of their diet is probably protein based or a certain nutrient base. That actually affects the growth of your hair, being that just like every other part of your body, the hair absorbs nutrient from what you take. When your meal is not balanced, it also affects the growth of your hair. That's number one. Then we talk about the physical damage. The physical damage is, you won't believe it, consistent braiding or fixing is called braid and fixing abuse.
Wow.
Oh yes, a lot of people do back to back. You take it off, you fix, you take it off, you fix. You're not replacing the lost moisture, you're not replacing the lost protein. So basically, your hair is just being stressed. Remember, anytime you braid or fix, it's called a manipulation. So in manipulating it, you're actually stretching the hair. It works when your hair is healthy, but when you're not feeding the hair and you're doing that back to back, your hair starts becoming damaged. That's another one.
So can hair damage be repaired?
Oh yes, depending on the kind of damage. And each kind of damage has its own treatment. The chemical damage has its treatment. The physical damage has its treatment, the environmental damage has its treatment, and the dietary damage has its treatment.
What could be the environmental damage?
Oh, the sun.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. The sun is our greatest challenge here in Africa.
God.
Oh, yes.
So now what do we do?
Now, for someone like you're wearing a protective gear, I am also wearing, because I'm conscious of the fact that the sun can take moisture from my hair. But if you were to carry your natural hair without the weave or the wig, please always use moisturizing products. There's a mistake people make, and I want to use this medium to correct it. Oil coats your hair. Doesn't give moisture to the hair. Now, when you oil dry hair, that is you breaking a fast with a fast. I always say that because the hair is dry, it has not had anything to eat, then you put oil on it. You should put oil on your hair when you have actually put in moisturizing products. You have put in conditioning product. What that does is it provides moisture and protein for the hair. Then you now put oil to coat it so it does not allow the direct heat of the sun on your hair. If you've done any process, especially dyeing of your hair, you need to stop the breakage, whether it has started or not, being that the chemical has destroyed your protein bonds. So whether the hair has started breaking or not,
But it definitely will.
it will. It's only a matter of time. And it's also a matter of the time frame in between your treatments or your chemical processes. That's what determines how fast your hair breaks. But if it's about whether it's going to break or not, it will definitely break. But starting it, there's a product that is in the market right now. It's called Olaplex. The Olaplex product actually stops damage. That's the first product I have seen that stops damage instantly. But see where we always miss the point. Olaplex stops the damage, but you need to repair your hair. Let's say you've done this process. You first of all stop the breakage. The next thing you do is, I had mentioned that when we started, that you do a deep conditioning mask treatment. Your shampoo and your conditioner are the basis, the foundation of good hair. If you don't have the right shampoo and conditioner, every other thing you've done is just crazy. Most of us grow up having moms with salon bags. I have always encouraged people to have their salon bags. The reason being that you're able to control the products you use. You know the products you use. Every woman should own a salon bag. This is key because when it comes to hair products, shampoo, there are different kinds of shampoo and they have different kind of job they do. Shampoos in your kit are chelating shampoo, meaning that they are formulated to lift heavy chemical. That's why it is in a kit. When your hair has no chemical and you're washing with chelating shampoo, what it does, it leaves the mineral from your hair and leaves your hair dry.
So how often should a woman replace the items in her salon bag?
You should replace them when you run out of it. And the frequency at running out of product depends on how badly damaged your hair is. Some people may have to treat their hair every week. Some may have to treat their hair twice a week. Some may have to treat like once in 2 weeks. It depends on how badly damaged. But it is in getting the right products that is very important.
Yes. Okay, if you're just joining us, we are discussing the woman's business, the hair, good hair grooming for good look. And we have Mrs. Uche Joseph Omana, the Executive Director, Sales and Marketing, Say You Hair Academy here in Uyo. She's an experienced human resource consultant and a business developer with over 15 years of experience, but now she's into hair business. So stay with us and learn a whole lot you need to know about healthy hair. Talking about the right product for the hair. Different women have different hair textures. Can you tell us about some of the hair textures?
Okay, there's a classification for hair and it's called LOIS. That's the LOIS. First of all, how you can determine on what classification your hair falls in, you must get a strand from your natural growth. So if you already have the permed hair, you would need to probably, when you pull off a strand or two, you have to take off the permed part. It's the natural hair that can tell if you're a daughter L. L are the people, when you drop your hair strand on a table, what shape does it make? If it forms an L, then you're a daughter L. If it forms an I, that's if you have the spiky hair. If that forms a majority of your hair strands, then you're daughter L. If you drop your hair and it forms a very tight O, you're a daughter O. Then if yours forms an O with a spiral twist, then you're daughter S. Now these hair textures, first of all, you may have more than one texture, but always start to consider the one that you have most, which might be an O as against an I or an L as against an S. That will determine what products you use, and that will also determine how the product is assimilated into the hair strands.
Okay.
Because each has its capacity to retain water and protein.
Okay, you've talked about Dr. L, Dr. I, Dr. O, and Dr. S. That's the hair terminology. Okay, so what does O mean? Is it the soft hair or hard hair?
Okay, the L and the I basically are the people who have very silky hair, and when their hair is all natural, it's not as tight, it's not as spongy, it's not as wiry as
That
others.
unpermed hair.
Understanding that is, if you can break off a strand, take off the permed part and drop it, the shape tells you what category you fall under. The O is the spongy hair. Dr. S is the coarse hair. Then Dr. L and I are the very soft hair texture. Now this Dr. L and I basically have better moisture consumption. Their hair is able to retain water. Their hair is able to retain protein. That's just their hair structure. And those are the people that you always see who are able to have very long silky hair. For some of us, the wiry hair does not even absorb water. The hair takes a longer time to absorb water, moisture, and it is also very quick to lose the moisture. Now, with that kind of hair, it means that I have to consciously replace moisture and protein. I have to buy products that would always retain moisture and protein. For products, please, first of all, you have to understand your hair texture. Getting to know your hair texture, you can find that information on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/SAYUHAIR. I repeat, Facebook/SAYUHAIR. That's where you'd get to find out your hair texture. Then in getting your products, you have to make sure for all hair type, you need to own a moisturizing shampoo and conditioner. With what we've heard, we have an understanding that one of our major challenges is the environmental damage, which is the sun, the ultraviolet rays. So we need to constantly replace the moisture and the protein balance to our hair, and that's what moisturizing shampoos and conditioners do. In buying moisturizing shampoos and conditioners, please, every woman should learn to read the ingredient section. On the front pack, they can write any information you want. No manufacturer lies about the information, the ingredients, because you can sue them with that. But in the front, they can tell you, oh, this is moisturizing. But if you're able to understand how to read your products, you would know that this is moisturizing, this product, this is not moisturizing. It shouldn't contain this. And in understanding that, you also need to know that the ingredients that are mentioned in the first two lines are always the ones in the highest concentration. The further down, those are in very low concentration or even in trace concentration. So when you're also looking at that, also have that at the back of your mind.
So still talking about hair grooming, we have women who carry braids for as long as they can afford to. So how long should a woman carry braids or fixing?
Basically, we have more of weave-on and braids abuse here. When you braid your hair, if your hair is healthy, I mean you don't have the shrinking hairline or the thinning hairline, the most you should carry your braids is at least a month. And in that 1 month, you should constantly spray your hair with water and oil. And the best oil, please ladies note, forget the big oils. The best oil for your hair, especially the natural hair, is coconut oil. Coconut oil is the only oil that allows your hair to absorb the moisture it needs from the environment, but still protects it from the sun. Every other oil totally blocks, but coconut oil allows your hair to absorb moisture and also creates a platform where your hair can still absorb protein from whatever your body absorbs. But for the weave-ons and the braids, please, out of necessity, do not exceed 1 month. It's horrible. That is constant damage. Remember, the weave-ons cover your tracks, so you can't even feed the hair. Then another thing that is not even healthy for your hair is the dirt that your hair accumulates. It blocks your hair follicles, so your hair is not even breathing. Then you now carry the same hair with the sweat, the salt, everything. It blocks your hair follicles, and some of this just goes right back into the hair shaft. The best we should do is at every point, please create 1 week for your natural hair to treat it. It is very important. And it's going to show you that your hair can grow past the shoulder plateau. I've seen Nigerian women with as long as 14 to 16 inches of natural hair. Healthy, from tip to the root. How is this possible? They will tell you their regimen. It is always precise. And like every other thing, when you follow a routine, whether positive or negative, you're going to get a result. So that's basically how that works. You see, the hair can withstand anything, but it's how often you repeat these processes. Now, let me tell you something about retouching. In retouching your hair, professional stylists are always precise. They do it with a clinical precision, being that they make sure that the relaxer only gets to the undergrowth part of your hair. It has no business with the straight part, because that part of the hair is already weak. And the more this relaxer gets to that part, it just keeps degrading and weakening your hair. That's why our hair keeps breaking. That is a very bad practice. You see, that's why Say You Hair Academy is bringing up the academy. We need to not just train them, but you teach stylists. We need to have stylists who understand hair structure, understand hair architecture, who understand pH balance of the human hair. When you understand this, then you can inform your client.
Okay, so let's talk about Say You Hair Academy.
All right, Say You Hair Academy is basically set up to create alternative to managing the natural hair. I started the academy based on my experience. I got to a point where I didn't have hair, so I needed to create an alternative, which was producing wigs locally. Then we also got into producing of weave-ons that are friendly. And when I say producing, I mean like literally we get the raw material and we produce the weave-on here in New York, Akwa Ibom State. Yes, we produce the weave-on, but we are creating the tracks in a way that it would allow air to get into your hair, because we find out that we always tap, and at a point the heat is trapped in the hair and we're practically banging our hair like mad. That led to setting up the academy, but in getting an alternative to that, we also saw that we do not have professional stylists in this area. It was a case of trial and error. The research, the answers I got, I had to reach out outside the country. Then in coming back, I now met salons in Lagos.